Okay, my computer is alive again. Hopefully, it stays alive. I would appreciate that. Computer, please. If you would. Am I good? I think I'm good. I'm good. Okay. Well, back to destroying a mountain. Oh, fuck. Hello? Okay, my computer isn't wanting to kill me. Twitch. I want to say your username is Twitch Bussy, but I don't think that's correct. But hi. Sorry. Hello. Oh my goodness. I can't tell if my stream is dying or not. I hope not. Oh. My frames say I'm perfectly fine, so we're gonna go with that. Hello? Are you serious? Oh, I don't need a crafting table, it's fine. That is not what I needed sticks for. I need sticks for a shovel, which I can't create. Fun. Fun. Okay, now time to search for a tree. Because I forgot a crafting table. One of the most... Godbird! Oh. Trees! Okay. My computer seems to still be dying. Or at least recovering from its death. Yeah. Okay. Just gonna... take it slow. I didn't press space. But I meant to. I just didn't press it. There we go. Okay. I don't need that anymore. Wait. No, I don't need any more. Okay, we're good. Hello, bird. Hi. Oh, they're so pretty. Oh! Yeah! Slow falling! Wee. 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 There you go. Back to destroying everything I see. Destroy nature! It's funny! Woo! Please don't listen to me, that was a joke. Don't actually purposely destroy nature, that is just sad on your part. And ironically enough, it's embarrassing. Why did it just randomly get really serious? Sorry. My bad. There should be like early game shulker boxes. I know we have bundles, but bundles literally only carry one stack. so I don't know what purpose of that is. I saw a thing where which Twitch no longer counts lurkers as viewers, which I find really depressing, because there's a lot of lurkers that just chill in streams for like background noise and such, but still want to support their like favorite streamers, and now they can't. They legit like have to be talking in chat to be considered a viewer. And it's just forcing lurkers to talk, even if they're uncomfortable with it. Which is another pet peeve of mine when streamers make lurkers talk. I hate that so much. Hi, Quinobi! I'm destroying a mountain. Oh. My question is, what was Twitch's thought process when they put that as a rule? In what way does that logically make sense? I mean, on one hand, sure, they're not actively watching the stream, but at the same time, the stream's open. It's open for a reason. What did the mountain do to deserve that? It was ugly. So I'm making it prettier, but in a different location, because that's how nature works. When did I become a mod? Last stream? The end of last stream? A bit before TNT tag, I'm pretty sure. I just decided why the hell not. It would be very unfortunate if I regret it. That sounded really menacing and threatening. I'm sorry, I did not mean it to until after I said it and realized how threatening that sounded. My bad. Yes, a little bit before TNT tag. I can ban everyone. Yes. You can if you wanted to. I'd like if you didn't. But you technically can. Did I really use all of the shovels already? Oh my god. Okay. I'm regretting throwing out that wood. Shit. Whatever. Okay. Let's pretend I made that jump first try. I can make a haircut. You look like a brick. God bird. Oh! Why can I only see it sometimes? That's freaky. Okay, whatever. Maybe the wood I threw off the ledge didn't despawn? Nope, it despawned. Okay. Well, sorry birch tree, but you're dead now. Deforestation! Woo! Right here. Oh! Is that an LA? Oh my goodness! It is! Hello! Oh my god! It's so fucking cute! Hi! Oh my goodness! You're adorable. Can I give you cookie? I don't have any oh, you're so cute. Okay, I'm letting you be. I don't know how to interact with it, so I'm just gonna let it be. Could I create a religion off of the god bird? Or is that morally wrong to create a religion off of a Minecraft mob? Music? Oh yeah, you can do that. I do not have a jukebox though, or a music disc. Oh, I don't know why I did that. Just decided that it would be a great idea to jump off a cliff. Jukebox. I don't have that though. I had wood on me! It's fine. Jukebox. Juxbox? It's a jukebox. It's a jukebox. Jukebox. Right? Jukebox. Jukebox. It's 3:45. I said Juxbox? Did I? Well, that's annoying. Whatever. Oh my gosh. People at my work have realized that I say things wrong a lot, or if I forget the word for something, I try and come up with other words that sound like it. And we have a micro station, which is basically just a giant iPad on ow! Which is basically just a giant iPad on top of a, bird. Where? Anyway. Basically just a giant iPad on top of a desk that you, like, put orders in and such. Anyway, it's called a micro table. Or a micro stand. But I called it a metro table. And now, whenever, my boss wants me to go to said go to said thing, she refers to it as the metro table. Listen, I'm not the brightest, okay? I don't care if you got your tongue against my neck. You like my style. It's a micro stand, but I called it a metro table. Oh, and I also forgot the word for banana. So, as I was trying to look up the word for banana, and I put in mushy yellow fruit. It worked. Banana showed up. But I looked up mushy yellow fruit. It was because I ordered a smoothie to my job from a different place, and I don't know what they did, but my peanut butter cup smoothie tasted like bananas. So I was trying to tell them that it didn't taste like peanut butter, but I couldn't think of the word for banana. So I said mushy yellow fruit, and everybody was just like, what the fuck are you talking about? I spend too much time with Carly and forget that not everybody has the same brain as us. Where we can just understand what the other is saying without explanation. I wouldn't guarantee Carly would be able to, translate what everything I say, but she would probably do a pretty good job at it. If given the opportunity. What am I even talking about anymore? Big wooden thing to eat on it. Table. I'm good at this. Sorry. Dirt. Oh wait, let me actually create a separate chest for the other random shit. Brown creamy stuff. Nutella. Pudding. Syrup. One of those? Nutella or peanut butter? Okay, Nutella. I was close. Did I just turn that dirt into a path and then break it? Yeah, I did. When you hear when Boiling Mayo showed up, we talked about how you can turn body parts into snow globes. It was very, educational. It's... You know what? I won't get into it. It's interesting, though. It is very interesting. I promise I am not a serial killer. I realized... Okay. I don't think that was a very convincing thing to say. Would I be a serial killer? Could you see me as a serial killer? I feel like I'd be too stupid to do anything that smart. How did the conversation get to peanut butter donuts? I don't know. Bird. Sorry, I got really into digging dirt for a second there. I just completely just fucking zoned in into the music. Ooh, I need coal. I am in a Discord call if Carly ever wants to join. but they are not feeling good today, so I highly doubt it. Although I will still mention it. Why? I don't know. My brain works like a... You know those machines that you find in arcades that you, like, have to use, like, tiny little walls to smack the ball into a specific spot to gain points? That's my brain. And my thought process is the ball. And I will not give any further explanation. This mountain is going to be decimated by the time I'm done getting enough resources for terraforming. What is this white smoke? Is it like I'm cold and I'm breathing or something? I can't tell. So, how do I get warm? Whatever. I do not think I have it in me to stream for a long time today, so I probably will not do another 4-hour stream. How Ludwig did a month-long stream, I will never be able to understand. That man is insane. In more than many ways. Okay. What does my inventory look like right now? I feel like this is okay for right now. Actually, I want to finish the stacks. 59. Okay. Yep, all good. Oh, okay. And now we'll mine stone for a bit longer because I want to get a perfect amount of stacks because I'm crazy like that. And then I will go back to creating a cliff and then a hobbit hole inside of said cliff because Boiling Mayo gave me the idea and now I need to complete it for the sake of my sanity. Alright, see ya. Thank you for popping by to watch me mine blocks. It was very entertaining, I bet. See ya. Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Oh, I mined too many blocks again. God fucking damn it. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. I just gotta build this up. Right? One. Okay. Oops. I'm still breathing. You can feel what you need twice. It's all just a dream, it's all just a dream. It's all in my way. Sleep on the concrete floor. I'm gonna text Carly that I'm on call if they ever want to join. Okay. Carly's been messaged. They do not have to join. I feel like if I mention the call to them, then they're gonna feel obligated to join. But I don't want them to feel obligated to join. No. I already sent the message. Can't go back. Just a game, it's all just a game. Open my wrist on the concrete. Ooh, glowing zombie. I need to look into that. I need to, like... What are they... Where are you from? No, not you. You. You're just from Minecraft, apparently. That's... okay. I feel like... Oop. I would like some coal, please. Why the coal looks like that? That makes me uncomfortable, actually. Why does the coal look like that? Fuck off. There. Oh! I thought the leaves were lava, and it scared the fuck out of me. But they were not lava, so it's fine. Sorry. Peony? Those are cute. I would not be able to find my house if I didn't put a waypoint. This is... literally everything looks the same. If I started walking around in this forest and I didn't have a minimap, I'd be fucked. I would not be able to tell that I was like 3 blocks away from my house right now. That's freaky. Okay, whatever. Boop. Bop. Bonk. Okay, actually I'm gonna move this away from Cliff's room. Yep, this is organized. 100%. Did I talk about how Twitch added a thing that lurkers aren't considered viewers anymore? Because if I didn't, I'm bringing it up again because that pissed me off. I don't think I did. It's fucking stupid. If you don't talk for like 15 minutes, I think it was, then you're no longer considered a viewer. Which, one, ruins, like, small streamers' stats. And two, it, like, forces lurkers that want to support streamers into talking. Like, what about social anxiety? There's so many things that go into the factor there that just pisses me off in so many ways. Alright, do I have extra cobble? I'm gonna take some of that. Okay, dirt time. I'll fill out this top pit. Always double dirt. Don't ask, just do. Always do 2 layers of dirt when terraforming. It just makes sense. I sound like I'm a professional builder or something. I'm not. I just like to build. I'm not professional at it. My favorite is terraforming, if you couldn't tell by now. I mined a literal chunk out of a mountain, so if I don't have enough dirt for this, I'm gonna be really confused. Sweet! Fill it in. Not to touch the inside, because I do not want... mobs, and I don't want to waste dirt and fill it in. So... cause for concern. Alright, so this is real fight. This is real fight. You're dead with sure. One thing. You got up and that was big. Actually, no. Took it as a tool. Anybody ever say no to you? Did anybody ever say no to you? Whoa. You think I have a clue? Anybody ever say no to you? Did anybody ever say no? What type of cobblestone is there that I could fuck with? Just cobbled bricks. What about stone? Smooth stone. Stone. I think I have a clue. Anybody ever say no to you? Oh, did anybody ever say no to you? Whoa. I didn't realize my VOD music stopped. Ooh, nope, it was probably awkward because it was complete silence of me just humming the music. Okay, what? Okay. I'm trying to see if I want to do a gradient with that. That would be better, right? I think so, right? Yeah. Why don't I have my arrows? There they are. I'm real confused for a second. I should probably place my bed down too. I think I need to smooth it out more up here. That's what I was doing before, wasn't it? And then I ran out. Bonk. Bonk. Stone. Finish, please. No, I'm sleeping. Yeah, I'm sleeping. I don't need any mob stuff. Why am I building a cliff if I'm just gonna destroy it by putting a house inside of it? I don't think I thought this through. I think it's okay. This one is showing off though. That's alright. I don't hate this. I do hate this though. Arcs. I don't know what that means. My dog just fucking kicked me. That is so rude of you. Whatever. What? I built a cliff. Now what? I feel like the house should go in here, and then I should make this a cliff too. Yeah? No? Merry Christmas. I just randomly say Merry Christmas. I'm sorry. That was so fucking random. Sorry. Fucking scared of people like you. Yeah, this is going pretty alright. I just pickaxed a tree. It's fine. Doing great. Thank you. Oh, I really need to figure out how I'm gonna do a lot of this. I have all of this open space now, and I'm gonna be living in a hobbit hole. It's fine. I chose to do this. It's fine. That's plenty of light. I'm already running out of shit. Okay. Guess I'm leaving, because this is gonna be a house. cliff. I don't think anything else, right? Oh, water bucket. Hold on. I gotta stretch. My back hurts. Okay. Sweet. Year round. And it's just something. Okay. 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 House. Hobbit house. We're gonna build with the terrain, except I created the terrain. That's basically what's happening right now. Okay, sorry. so once they're created into bricks, that's it. Fun. Fun, fun, fun. Hello. I heard it.